Hey, so in this video, we're going to go over some key skills, some of them basic, but pretty critical to understand and be able to leverage in navigating Visage, a PACS to look at medical imaging. This is one. This is the one we use at our institution or my institution, and it's very good. And it has a number of different functionality that is a lot of times will be either universal or where the skill sets or the principles will be portable to other PACS. So we'll kind of go over some key skills that will help someone who's relatively new to using Visage get oriented. Okay, so the most important thing are like basic functions, right? So like you can change the function of the left click to, we got scroll here, you've got like a continuous scroll, and you could localize, but it's much better to avoid having to click on a toolbar or even to right click to have to switch tools. So the preferred way to do this is actually to use single action, like a mouse key or a keyboard hotkey to access everything. So scrolling, if you just keep it by default, you can keep it on the left mouse button. The right mouse button will do pan, okay? It'll pan the image. Pressing down on the mouse wheel will get you to zoom in and out, okay? Oh, by the way, this is the, we have the current and the prior here, but they're going to be pretty much the same on this patient. So we have zoom, and then another critical one is to window and level, which is both mouse buttons at once, and then you go up and down, and then side to side for different windows and levels. So those are some pretty critical tools. Another one that, if we were to access here triangulation or kind of localizing on different parts of the image, so this will get you, as we scroll on the axials, you can find us the same spot or same pixel, maybe voxel, let's say, on the sagittal. But it's preferable to do this with a hotkey. So if you press Alt and you click, that will provide you instant access to that with having to click on this or do the right click. And that same hotkey will work with in the NPR, which we'll cover in a different video. If you press spacebar, it'll remove a number of different lines and annotations and information around the box. I've already done that, and there's another function within Visage to de-identify the images. So I've already done that, so I'm not going to hit those keys to keep the patient information off the screen here. Another key thing is to be able to draw arrows and take ROI. So arrow is by default A. That's similar to many other PACS. There is a function to do an annotated arrow. So let's just say you've got an arrow. Let's just do it like this. We just could go, point at the septum pellucid. You could right click and you could type in something here. Okay, good. Okay, good. You can delete that if you'd like. But there's also a hotkey. I think it's default to T. Either that or I've changed it to T, and where you just press T and then you draw the arrow and the annotation pops up automatically. Another key thing that you'll need to be able to do is to take ROI. So I think the default is E for an elliptical one, and especially when you're doing PET, it's useful to create a 3D ROI. I don't know if that there's a default key for that, but you could set it. The hotkey to bring up the tool, so you could actually go up to the toolbar and do hotkey assignment, but the hotkey to bring up the hotkey assignment is Control K. Okay, and here you can see all of the. Actually, I think this is almost all. There's some that are default that are not on here, but this is basically all the key ones, where you can see all of the hotkeys. I've reassigned quite a few of them, but I've kept quite a few defaults. So Control K, and you can search here. That's pretty important. So like if I wanted to remove patient information, remove patient, so that's what I've done before bringing this up. You can search here, okay? And I was just talking about the elliptical ROI, and then you can get a spherical ROI too. You can do spherical annotation. There's a lot of pretty cool different things. You basically annotate anything. So that's a key thing to be able to do. So we did annotation. We did arrows, elliptical ROI. Another key thing would be being able to do spine labeling. So let's bring up our spine numbering, right? So that's default P. So and this brings up this toolbar, right? So I could click, 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 right? And those. A kind of key important thing is to be able to put this is have this clicked. So this will show on all images. So let me show you actually, bring this tool down. So let's see if I can bring this over. And so if you don't have that clicked, for example, oops, let me delete that. So if you don't have that clicked, see, it's not going to show on this set of images, but so we want to have that so that all the different images it'll have the coordinates of each annotation ported to each different image set. So that's pretty helpful. So and then I press OK, and then that goes away, and then I can go back to my window and level tool. So that's the spine labeling. That's pretty critical, and then you can move these things, you can delete them. Sometimes I right click to delete, but you can also just hit the delete key on your keyboard. So let's just get rid of those for now. Okay. And let's go back to the brain images. And a couple less commonly used tools. I mean, I've got CT, but up here. But if we were to bring up the localizers, oops, let's get rid of that as well. You could invert with I. If you ever need to draw an angle. G, I believe, is the default. Okay, so you'll need that in certain applications, particularly in pediatrics. That I think covers a lot of the most important tools. Let me think if there's anything else. We'll just bring up this and we'll just go through our hotkeys and just make sure we've covered everything. Angle. Oh, then I think this is actually quite important. So in our kind of PACS and PowerScribe integration, we have an ability for, so if this is the prior study, to automatically import the date and study information from a prior study into the report. So here, if I had to clicked on the prior study and then hit this button, set comparison, it automatically imports, so I don't have to dictate the study information for the prior. And so, you could click on this and then you could click this, but I've set this to the hotkey C, so you can see that here, hotkey C. So if you wanted to do this, you could search comparison, and if you didn't already have it, so you could click and drag it over to, where do I have it? C, right? And then you could hit this and you could hit C on the when you're looking at the comparison, and that'll automatically bring it over, so it saves you a little bit of time. So that's quite nice. And then let's also look at the rest of the toolkit here. I think we've basically covered the most important things that you can do in this kind of view. Well, we can cover some other, tools that are more helpful for an MPR in a separate view. Some other kind of niche things would be there is an auto scroll built into Visage, so I have it set. I think it's as Shift W, so it'll auto scroll a set of images. It doesn't scroll backwards, so it only goes forward, and it'll repeat from the beginning, but that's not bad. There are ways to basically create a different auto scroll tools with different functionality, but requires kind of another approach than what are the inbuilt hotkeys. And another thing that's kind of useful, particularly for people doing academics or working on projects, is getting setting screenshot to hotkey. So there's different types of screenshots. You can do the active viewer, you could do all viewers. So I have these Alt S for screenshot. All right. So like if I press S, that brings this to the clipboard. So now I can paste this into a PowerPoint, right? And if I press like Shift S, I think it like captures everything, or Alt S captures. I can't remember which. Well, those will also save it into the screenshots view within PACS, and I've kind of removed, or I've cropped out for this view, the little bar at the bottom, which would be kind of like down below here, all of the sequences or projections, just because there's like some study dates and potential PHI down there, but that'll save it. If you do some of those, it'll also save it to a screenshots set of images, which is particularly helpful. Another thing, and then one of the last couple things that are useful to think about is that if you have a number of annotations on a sequence, let's just say I've thrown a number of arrows on here, you can actually jump through these by pressing F12. Okay, so that's actually very helpful. So instead of, let's just say, reporting image numbers when you want to remember things, you can press F12, and then F11 goes backwards through them. So F11 and F12 are the hotkeys for that. And so when you're, let's just say, looking at a study and it's very complicated and you just want to remember certain things, but maybe you're just doing a first look and you're just triaging, you're not necessarily you don't want to report everything at once. You want to get the big picture. That's kind of a nice way to kind of collect all, just annotate a whole bunch of things. You can even not just throw arrows on them, but regions of interest. You could type in annotations and then go through the screenshots. And that's actually really helpful too if you're trying to be really good to our your referring clinicians and provide additional information. Annotating the actual images is very, very helpful. Let's just double check that I've covered everything here. That basically is it. There's a couple other functions of more kind of niche application, but that about does it. All right. Thanks for listening.